Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
Michael, let me start with your good self. You heard, from your point of view, the great Richard Dawkins was in Dublin yesterday. What did he have to say?
Well, he was talking largely about science at the Dublin Writers' Festival event in the National Concert Hall. He was talking about his life as a scientist, about the various books he's written, some of which are promoting science and some of which are critical of theology and religion. And he came across very well, came across as the gentle, erudite man that he is, and refuted the false impression that people who oppose him put across of him as being somehow strident.
Now, he pointed to the Irish Times poll on religious attitudes, and he suggested that, Catholics who don't believe that the body and, blood of our Lord is present in the communion should actually give up the Catholic faith. But isn't that a bit extreme? I mean, nobody fully adheres to, no one of any religion, or very few people of any religion, fully adheres to all of the tenets of their faith. Doesn't mean they don't believe in that faith.
No, although transubstantiation, which is one of the, from an atheist perspective and from a scientific perspective, one of the most improbable parts of Catholic theology,
according to science,
is a core part of the Catholic faith.
According to science, but faith is not about accepting scientific dogma, no more than scientists accept religious dogma.
Yeah, but you were just arguing a second ago that it didn't matter that they don't believe in it. But there are other things as well, like 8% of people who describe themselves as Roman Catholics in that survey didn't believe in God, which I would have thought would be a reasonably fundamental part of being a Catholic.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
Mark, do you believe in transubstantiation?
That is a very deep question. Yes, I do in a metaphysical sense, yes.
And how do you think it happens?
You're asking me to describe it in terms of a scientific process I don't understand, because I don't believe all these phenomena can be understood by scientific method. I have faith that it happens,
right.
But I cannot prove it to you in scientific terms.
Do you believe that Muhammad flew on a winged horse?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I'm not a Muslim, but I respect those who do.
What's the distinction between the two? Why do you believe one and not the other?
Because I was reared in the Roman Catholic Church. I took a good look at it. I compared it with Islam and Judaism, and I decided I was going to stay in.
And why is flying on a winged horse less reasonable than
I'm
turning
not saying
the body?
It's not less reasonable. I never said it was unreasonable. I said it's not the faith that I have.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
Can I bring Michael in here, because there's various ways to cut the cloth here, but I'm looking at the census. If my figures are right, and please correct me if they're wrong, 3,900 or thereabouts describe themselves as atheist on the census. Now, I know you would like to include a larger subset of people who, had not stated or agnostic, but whatever way you cut the numbers, between 0.1 and maybe 2 or 3% of the population have described themselves as in varying degrees of non-belief, or at least non-organised religious belief. It's a very small proportion of the population. Would you agree with Fintan O'Toole when he was writing in the Irish Catholic last September that small proportion is very, very overrepresented in the media and the commentariat of our country?
No, I wouldn't. First of all, the figure for atheists is very misleading, because the question on the census is, what is your religion? Atheism is not a religion. People who are atheists will have answered that question by ticking the no religion box. A small number of people, for whatever reason, choose to write in the word atheist or agnostic or humanist or other phrases like that.
But how do you know the people who tick no religion means they may not have a religion, but they may have a personal belief in God?
You don't.
They may not be Jewish or Catholic or Buddhist, but they may have their own personal belief in God. Doesn't mean they're atheists.
Yeah, that's right. You don't know that.
So maybe we should put in.
So we should. The whole question provides misleading answers.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
I have heard very senior media editors, respected media people, tell me that as far as they are concerned, I've heard Helen Buckley of the Ferns Committee say that, look, serious as they are and must be covered, the proportion of clerical abuse is a small proportion of the total abuse committed, and she doesn't demean the importance or gravity of it. But what she says is, why therefore is the vast majority of news coverage focused on clerical? And the answer I have got from several senior editors is, we have to get the church, because its position on abortion and other issues is way out of line with modernity, and it has to be attacked.
There's a very strong...
in other words, the reason for covering it could be argued is very flawed. You wanted to make a point on that.
Yeah, I want to, because this is quite a serious point, because, I mean, to a certain extent, it's entertaining talking about, why you believe the pieces of bread turn into body and blood of Jesus and Muhammad and flying horses, and their kind of theological entertainments. But there's the very serious issue of children being raped and abused institutionally. And the reason that it is more significant to focus on the Catholic Church than other institutions in that context is not because of the rape and abuse, it's because of the cover-ups. It's because it is an organisation that institutionally facilitated the continuance of it by moving people from parish to parish and from country to country, and wherever around the world the Catholic Church is, you have that problem.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
Can I suggest that Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, both of whom were fervent believers, critical believers, but believers, might disprove that?
You're seriously misquoting Einstein. Einstein's God was a metaphor, and Einstein specifically said that he found the idea of a personal anthropomorphic God, which is the God that most Christians are talking about, a personal God with whom you can have a relationship, to be something that he couldn't take seriously at all.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.
Scientists still don't really have a handle on the fundamental unit of matter. They have models of subatomic particles, but we don't yet have the final picture of how subatomic physics works. A lot of it is based on an idea, an idealization. It's not necessarily hard truth yet.
Look, there's no such thing as hard truth in science. All that science can do is...
Thank you. That's all I was saying.
But yeah, of course, but that's not in dispute. Scientists, it's religious people that claim to have truth.
So there is no hard truth in science. That's all I was saying.
No, of course there isn't. What science does is it moves closer and closer towards the truth by discounting theories that have been shown by experiment repeatedly to be not consistent with the evidence.
If there is no hard truth in science, how can science have any claim, any superiority over truth over religion?
The reason that science is more reliable than religion as a way of understanding reality is that it constantly provides models that by repeated testing show to be consistently correct. Religion doesn't.
Coleman at Large on Newstalk 106 to 108.